It's time for Around the Ozarks in 5, brought to you by Adventure Cave Tours. Live a day in the life of a real adventurer with Adventure Cave Tours. And the Springfield Greene County Park Board, reminding you to go play. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Forhetz.
And it is Friday. Happy Friday to you. We made it through the week. One day to go, and the weekend is here, so that's worth celebrating. We'll celebrate with a little news this morning.
All right. Be advised, road crews will start working tomorrow for the permanent fix to the sinkhole that opened up right there at the 60-65 interchange. Really, it's on 60, but it affects both lanes of traffic. So, at its height, it was about 35 feet long and 15 foot across. Opened up a few weeks ago, and it has been temporarily fixed, but they are going to permanently fix it for good. So be ready for some lane closures and some on and off ramp closures over the weekend. Brace yourself.
Yeah, it's we've been going a while with a Band-Aid on that sinkhole, so I guess they got to fix it for real. But man, that's going to be a pain because
better on the weekend though than on the weekdays. So
I think it might continue for a few days.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, but I'm glad that they're starting on a weekend because they'll get the majority of it done. So,
all right.
All right. It's back to the drawing board for the Springfield school districts. It is backing out of a deal to buy 20 acres of land on East Pythian Street near Highway 65 because of concerns raised about access and trains and more. Part of the problem is that Pythian Street is the only street that accesses that property, and a train crosses near there fairly often, causing some concern about emergency access to the school if needed. SPS had already entered into a contract to buy that land, but now they have to get out of that deal and look for a new space for the Pipkin Middle School. It's paid for by a bond issue that voters approved back in April.
And then there's this. This will everybody will remember this. But U.S. Coast Guard now has new rules for what we know as duck boats, specifically the old duck boats that are the amphibious vehicles all the way back from World War II. Right now, there are only 16 of those vessels still being used to transport tourists around different tourist areas. The new rules come 5 years after that duck boat sank on Table Rock Lake, killing 17 people. Among other things, the new rules require the removal of window coverings and canopies as a roof, which caused a lot of problems during the sinking of the duck boat. The new rules also require passengers to wear life vests, which was not a rule at the time of the tragic sinking of the duck boat on Table Rock Lake. So some changes. It took a while to get those changes, which it's been a long time, but most of the duck boats that are that old haven't really been in too much operation since the tragic accident. Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley wants to limit how much interest credit cards can charge people. So the interest rate on credit cards. His bill would cap the annual percentage rate of credit cards at 18% and would prevent new fees added by companies to make up for what they're losing in the percentages that they can't do, right? This comes just as credit card debt of Americans has surpassed $1 trillion for the first time in history. And that is an amount of money that most of us cannot fathom. $1 trillion.
Yeah. And I read a story recently about, I think we did it on the podcast, in fact, but credit card debt per person in America is higher than it's ever been.
Yeah. It's not good. And you get trapped with that interest rate so high. People get trapped and can never pay it off unless, it's tough. It's tough to do. State of Missouri is suing Dollar General stores. The state attorney general claims unfair and deceptive pricing from Dollar General. The AG says many items show one price on the shelf, but then you get to the cashier to ring it up, and it's a higher price that you may or may not notice. The suit is the result of an investigation by Missouri government that found nearly 100 locations had prices that did not match.
They are not the first store in trouble for this. This has happened before. So beware. I suppose I won't call them by name, but another major retailer this happened to.
Well, and most people aren't sitting there watching with eagle eyes the price of everything. I know some people do because I see them in front of me and I'm like, oh,
no, this girl does. I know what the sticker says at the shelf, and I always watch it as they ring it if
Do
they're
you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. In fact, I knew that the store that got in trouble with it a few years ago, I knew that they were going to eventually, and then they did. Not because of me. Like I didn't
Did you narc 'em?
break the case open or anything like that, but um I knew that it was going to come down and it did. So, anyway, that's frustrating. Good for the AG. Go get them.
Yeah,
And
I
I have
mean, you
nothing
can't. That
against
can't.
Dollar General, but like it should be what it is. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah,
People are
that can't
buying
be
something
allowed.
again. Right. Yeah.
That you know what? That's actually happened to me. Well, that's happened to me more than once recently. It rang up like way higher, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that says."
I was on the
Oh, I
phone
remember
with
where I
you.
was. I won't say where I was, but I remember where I was and what the product was because I go there. You know what I'm talking about, probably. I go there to get it on sale,
Yeah.
and then it didn't ring up on sale. And
Correct. I
anyway,
was with you on the phone and you were like, "Hold on a minute. I got to find a manager." I know what you were buying. Yeah,
uh,
yes.
I didn't ask for a manager, but they did change the price for me. The lady right there at the cashier.
Yeah. It is an interesting little thing because I always check it. So anyway, beware of what you're buying. All right. 3 local organizations are vying for nearly $2 million to build shelter for the homeless in Springfield. The Women's Medical Respite, Council of Churches, and the Salvation Army are all hoping to get the nod. City leaders say the money could be divided between more than one organization, perhaps. The federal dollars come from Home ARP, ARP, which requires the money be used strictly for building, not for staffing. So the recipient or recipients will be named at the beginning of the new year. So all of those places, all 3 of those places that I mentioned have a plan in place for what they would do with the money as far as building goes if they got it awarded to them.
Right. Come October, City Council will be held at the Springfield Regional Police Fire Training Center. That's because renovations are going to start at historic City Hall. So, if you go to City Council meetings, and there, you'd be maybe surprised at how many people go. And because Sarah's covered City Council meetings for years, and I've covered them for years, and it's usually the same cast of characters at the city councils. Sometimes there's a big issue that gets people to
As I
show up
say, it's issue
in droves.
driven. So it's just crazy if there's a big issue that is divisive. Like a lot of times it's like not in my backyard type
It's
crowd.
zoning issues.
Yeah, zoning, which
But
those are going to be there too. So, and hey,
but
you know what? Good on them. That's why this is America. I like it.
but normally when there's nothing major going on, you count on seeing the same people at the city
Right.
council meetings.
Yes.
They
Yes.
go and they're heard every week or
I love
every
that
other week.
though. I mean, it's what makes us a democracy. So it's
Yeah,
a
good.
beautiful thing.
Good for them. They're exercising their rights. Public meetings will be live streamed at cityview.springfieldmo.gov and on the city's Facebook page. That's probably easier to get to. Both council and planning and zoning meetings will be there at their normal times. Again, not at Historic City Hall, but at the Springfield Regional Police Fire Training Center. And that starts when? In October? Next month?
At the very beginning of October, I think
Yep.
October 2nd is the first meeting, and that is on Battlefield Road. So,
Yep.
All right, Aurora's new Mercy Clinic is up and running with more space. Mercy leaders say it was needed because the Aurora Clinic also sees people from the surrounding areas like Cassville, Mount Vernon, etc. So the clinic is on the south side of the Mercy Hospital Aurora, where the former clinic was, but now with more room and more providers. It has family medicine and obstetrics. So they've already opened. They just recently had a ribbon cutting, and they say people are coming. So
Cool.
All right. If you love Mediterranean food, which Ethan and I have been to Israel a couple times now, and we're going back soon and very soon. So you're in luck if you like that kind of a diet. Springfield is going to get a new kebab shack, which is awesome. They're going to serve shawarmas, falafel, lots of hummus, all things Mediterranean. So it's set to open in November in Springfield, but we don't know the exact location yet.
Man, I love a good kebab, and I love myself a shawarma. What else do I
You
love?
would always
And,
get shawarmas, and I would get
and
falafel.
gyros. Correct. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
not a big falafel guy, but I
I
do like a
really enjoy
shawarma.
the falafel. So,
Shawarma.
yeah.
I also like saying shawarma.
I think you just like to order it because you think you sound like a local.
I'm pretty sure I'm sound American. When I, when I say one shawarma, please. Is that how you say it? Shawarma? Shawarma?
Anyway, if you have not ever had Mediterranean food, either come to Israel with us or go find an authentic place, and hopefully the kebab shack will hit the spot. We'll keep you posted when we know exactly where it will be opening up at. And yes, I know not to end a sentence in at. I can hear my grammar teacher right
But
now saying, "Where is it between the A and the T?" That's what she used to always say to me. All right, this is interesting because I feel here's why this is interesting to me. I feel like this has always been a concern of mine. And then I tell myself, oh, it's unfounded, Sarah. That's an unfounded fear. And now it's happening. Apple is getting in trouble for the iPhone 12. Why, you ask? Because
another
some
conspiracy
studies,
another
apparently,
conspiracy theory is true.
I feel like I have become a conspiracy theorist. I just need everybody to know that about me. So the model iPhone 12 specifically apparently emits too high of electromagnetic radiation levels.
You don't sleep with it by your head.
Yeah, exactly. So why is it the iPhone 12 and not the other models? I don't know. But apparently French regulators do certain tests to figure out what the level is of the electromagnetic radiation emissions. And they said that the iPhone 12 specifically was too high. So they are calling on Apple to either update the phone and fix it, like fix the bug, if you will, with an update, or recall the phone. Now, I should tell you that the agency that monitors it said, it's still lower than what is considered harmful to your health. However, the numbers are much higher than that watchdog group says that they should be.
Well, you never know in the moment the trouble it's causing. You always find out many years later that, oh, we were wrong about that. So I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm saying it likely
Yeah.
could be the case.
Yeah.
We'll
Anyway,
all find out that our cell phones have been killing us this entire time.
yeah. I have a friend actually
But they're
who
convenient.
is smarter
So
than both of
convenient.
us combined, and she's concerned about it, and so that kind of makes me concerned. But then I just like dismiss it, and then I read this story, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Anyway, not that I thought she was wrong, but here we are. I got my cell phone in my hand, literally as we speak. So, but the reason is a good reason, at least. I'm going to tell you about some weekend happenings because there are several. We've been mentioning them kind of like leading up, but now that we're at Friday, here we go. We told you about the St. Jude walk run happening at Hammond's Field tomorrow. Cider Days, which is in downtown Springfield on Saturday and Sunday. The Missouri Food Truck Fest.
That sounds fun.
We told you about that a couple weeks ago, but it is Saturday. So this weekend at the fairgrounds, the Food Truck Fest.
That's
Who
awesome.
doesn't love a good food truck? And then also the Ozark Mountain Daredevils and Friends concert. So you can find all the details and locations for everything happening at aroundtheozarks.com on the events calendar.
Yeah, they've got a great events calendar. I check it out at least once a week.
Yeah.
To find out what all's going on, where and when. It's cool.
Yes, it's good. They do. And by they, I mean, I think it's Taylor primarily, one of our coworkers. Yes, it's a great compilation of events, all sorts of things. So check it out, aroundtheozarks.com.
Lots of stuff at aroundtheozarks.com. You can get our podcast. You can get Abby Dyer's Wake Up Weather podcast, Ned Sports podcast. Lots of podcasts they have going on there. So you can check that out. It's kind of a one-stop shop.
All right. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much for joining us. See ya.
We made it to Friday. Have a good weekend, and we hope to see you right back here Monday morning.
Bye.